manuni abanduno Tamanini kijampu Ganda dilga bai banduno Anyar bai bigzai Dalan kingdom Anatai kudalan nuntong Penguba koin bai rumbenga Waka achinga tunga bai banduan Chakmira manadukul wala jej Wala yamotan Kalor kidelo yo Kudaga nama kundu koin bai rumbenga Achinga tunga bai banduan Ekunu tunga bai banduan Wantini kantot bai banduan Kedina pedi kanyalo Kudaye panne koi koki ina luideku Ina tangi, ina beri loi anu aga jiran luin Pandiri ima charadol, pandiri ima peridal Pandiri manya tiong kui jumboa Babanga, tumbeke yin babanga Ani hamam tage kun baloi gai banap Wene kiyani choling nyalin janyal Bawe jambu kubatili lui kebal bai rumbe Anatai kudalam nonton Penguba koin bai rumbenga Waka achinga tunga bai panduan Chakmira manadukul wala jej Wala yamotan Kalor kidelo yo Kudaga nama kundu koin bai rumbenga Pani ina majol kudagi mayu Akol bilir minyang Akol bilir okunyangu bakam Bangarar kuyirul banda Dalku apodaru kaiwulu Yangalu kudile nyiji midile lu kudunbak Nyangiro Bak tinggi diara lawe Nakalu nyaiga bai bandono Ajiran rega bai bandano Ajiran emane bai bandano Jadi depan narada pinya nomba nom bai bandeno Arwini nyetiho kanong bai rumbo Yin kuyin wan ma kuyin nyan gai wan nom bai rumbena Anatai kudalam nonton Penguba koin bai rumbenga Waka achinga tunga bai panduan Chakmira manadukul wala jej Wala yamotan Kalor kidelo yo Kudaga nama kundu koin bai rumbenga Dugi jamba nomar Ejam kutaje kutake kun maloi bai rumbe Atoni unechu Kunyandur pamanam Jogani mark valoi bai pandon Kubridi panduru manyangi jam Atwani yau Baya lolok Julukanyindi bai pandon Apudit Pandir kupanji Julukanyiri
Hello, Gulwang and Sheep, Wagacha Moderate, Yanando Lukachibane, Yen about the red man, bent long week, and I think before Kabana Twin, before Bala Twin, before Bala Twin, a workshop University Sudan, whereby like Happy Independent Day, Wagacha Legerit, we quite dike, Yana Chimkaloy, and a Malpin, so can I jam on shit, Baben, Bilko Babanajam, the Kang, Kajui Lorot, Kian, and Chipomiat, Wagacha Legiban. We quite whipping, especially Monjang, Kujula Koi Rumek Bezat, Akiga Jamka, Kuan and a Chiban Live, Bindan by General Salpa Kimaya did Kujula Kuma Deban, Babania, congratulations, strong, Kadanki baby, Chen Koi, Chiwi Chen Koi. Kene ko pada ready ko chamiar ko chan banle ko kuma de ban chale you guys stand up for the right of people of South Sudan kene piu taban piu ka chi dong ma na chin ko ki dong ko go mo yang لازم يكون يليب كجلا people of South Sudan, they have to have a right for their water. So kiyen na ci pomiat kuyana na ci ben for second time right now. I want to share with you some of the water crisis around the world, because we know right now to be ben another 50 years or 25 years, water will be really a problem in the world. So we have to stand up as South Sudan people to our bukoy ni kokoy kwa nim resources kwa including water kujula ka juika kaya na jibana took a lot of people alive, and I don't know if I can make it good right now, lakin anong film bashir ko wetan en film kan agor ko bin ko ting ku yen in a chan beneten. Yeah, thanks.
Niagara Falls. The impressive flow of water that draws visitors from all over the world is roughly equivalent to the amount of water that is being pumped out of the ground by wells in the United States alone. Much of the planet relies on groundwater, and in places around the world, in regions of Asia, Africa, the Middle East, Latin America, and the United States, so much water is being pumped from the ground that aquifers are being rapidly depleted and wells are going dry.
Is this incredible global phenomenon that we really didn't, we never really understood it the way we understand it now. It's pervasive and it's happening at a rapid clip.
It will be an understatement to call it serious.
We're getting down to the bottom of that huge pool of water that in the 50s and 60s we thought was inexhaustible.
Groundwater is going down. No exception.
We've passed a point that we've never seen before in history here.
Nos va a hacer desaparecer. Simplemente con el agua. Sin agua, ¿qué vamos a hacer?
With the help of satellite technology, our view is not limited to the surface of the Earth. Locked in a tandem polar orbit, twin satellites named GRACE look down at the Earth. GRACE's ability to measure small changes in gravitational pull allows it to observe changes in water content, from glaciers to groundwater. These satellite measurements show areas around the world where water supplies are declining and where groundwater is being depleted.
Paul, Daddy? Huh? Paul here! Paul! Paul! Dude! Hey, America. Box America. Put the guys.
In India, a groundwater crisis has been building for decades. NASA imagery of groundwater depletion shows clearly that something serious is happening in the northern state of Punjab. Punjab means the land of 5 rivers. Its rivers have been divided and diverted into a vast array of irrigation canals.
The situation in this region of India is quite critical.
According to Dr. Balwinder Singh Sidhu, the Commissioner of Agriculture for the state of Punjab, those canals only serve 27% of Punjab's agricultural needs.
Rather, in this state of Punjab, we have almost 98% area under assured irrigation, out of which about 27% is based on surface water, that is a canal system, and 73% is based on groundwater. So since we are using large part of groundwater for irrigation, so situation is that groundwater table in the state is declining.
ਜਦੋਂ ਅਸੀਂ ਛੋਟੇ ਸੀ ਨੇ ਤੇ ਐ ਪਾਣੀ ਟੋਆ ਪੱਟ ਕੇ ਤੇ ਪਾਣੀ ਕੱਢ ਲੈਂਦੇ ਸੀ.
When I was a child, the water level was only 1 or 2 feet from the ground level. And in my last 45 years, the water level goes down every year.
It is declining at an increasing rate. It started declining in 1979.
I mean, it will be an understatement to call it serious. In my state, I've talked with farmers who have sunk 60 bore wells in just one piece of farmland that they own, and all of the 60 bore wells failing. In Marathi, there's this word called salan. Salan really means, a body with bullet wounds. That's what's happening to the land here. It's being reduced to a body with bullet wounds, and there is no water coming from there.
The water in an aquifer is called groundwater. An aquifer is a geological formation that has the capacity to store and transmit water. An aquifer is largely an unconfined aquifer, which is close to the surface, which is not confined on the top by another layer of rock. And then there's the confined aquifer, which is confined or compressed between 2 layers of impermeable rock. A large diameter well, commonly called a dug well, is sunk into the ground by excavating rock or rock material close to the surface of the earth. A borehole, on the other hand, is a hole that is drilled in a hard rock, and a tube well is drilled in sediment or alluvium or soil, which is unconsolidated. And therefore, it needs a tube to keep the loose material from collapsing in.
We always say that groundwater is actually the lifeline of India. It's not the water that flows over the ground. It's actually the water that flows under the ground that is the lifeline of majority of the country.
Let this soft mineral melt in your mouth to rebuild your gums and teeth, and never need a dentist again. People are fixing their receding gums, decaying teeth, gingivitis, and tooth infections all by letting this special mineral melt in their mouth every morning. Maverick Dr. Drew Sutton has just discovered this powerful sweet mineral that can regrow your teeth and gums almost overnight. How is this possible? This mineral contains special microscopic healing ingredients that reach deep inside the gum pockets and in between all your teeth, something not possible until now. This method is 10 times more effective than any existing solution, which means you may never have to step foot into a dentist office ever again, as this can easily be done from home at your kitchen table. The crazy part, it only takes a few seconds to do and immediately starts restoring years' worth of damaged receding gums and decaying teeth in just a matter of days. So if you are still struggling with bleeding or receding gums, gingivitis, gum infections, toothaches or decay, bad breath, or any type of periodontal issue, then this discovery could save your life. I urge you to stop everything you're doing and click the link below to watch a short, free special video that'll show you exactly how you can start using this method today. If it's already worked for 34,232 people, then it can surely work for you too. Even if you've been fighting decay and inflammation for 5, 10, or even 20 years. Imagine, no more awful metallic blood taste in your mouth, no more throbbing tooth pain, and best of all, never having to step foot into a dental office ever again. The billion-dollar dental industry does not want you to see this video and discover the fastest, most powerful gum and teeth rejuvenating secret on the planet. Click the link below and watch it before it's too late. Click it now, as it will disappear in just a few seconds.
I've been getting paid $1,000 a month, if not more, just from this app on my phone. And I don't know if you can see this, but it's called Audible. Okay, so I'm going to show you right here. I have a check from Audible. This is for $1,100. This one's for $1,100 again. And then this one is $1,200. Every month, I am getting paid by Audible. For those of you that don't know what Audible is, it's actually a child company of Amazon, which is one of the largest marketplaces in the world. So Audible is where people normally buy and sell audiobooks and podcasts. And the first time I learned about this was 3 years ago from Christian. So Christian would put up these audio files onto Audible, and just like that, he would get paid. So I saw this and I said I could do that. So then I started doing it, and then within a few months, I was able to quit my job and I started traveling the world with Christian. So I taught the same process to my mom, and now she's making about $900 a month. Then I decided to teach my little brother, who's in college right now, so that he can pay off his student loans. So the best part about this is that it is so beginner friendly, and I want to show you how easy it is. Obviously, this is an ad, so I can't really show you anything, but if you click the link below, you'll be able to attend a free training that Christian put together, and it goes over the exact same steps that he taught me, my mom, and my little brother. It's a simple training. It's just 4 steps about how you can start leveraging Audible today. And honestly, 3 years ago, I knew nothing about online business.
This is Kulwinder Singh, a third-generation farmer who works with his father Shinder on their 20-acre farm at the edge of the village of Buzraj. The water that flows in Kulwinder's fields comes at a price. The declining water table means that Kulwinder has had to deepen his wells every year to keep his farm viable. For Punjabi farmers like Kulwinder, choosing what crops to grow comes down to economics. The fodder that Kulwinder cuts every morning is destined for his cattle, who provide milk and fuel for cooking in the form of manure, collected daily by his great aunt, Nasib Kaur. The Indian government provides guaranteed pricing for some crops, and rice is consistently the most profitable crop for farmers to grow. Rice requires far more water than traditional crops.
मूर्खता है साडे जान के जेह्ड़े क्यों ला रहे हैं यानी दोषी हो गई है ना पंजाब में मेक ए डेजर्ट इन द next day in the future.
In Punjab, electricity is free for farmers. Most farmers leave their pumps on, so when the unreliable power comes on, their pumps run constantly.
In this situation, the farmer is already stressed, and depleting groundwater levels are proven to be the last straw in many cases. Farmers have actually committed suicide when their bore wells stopped yielding water.
The pressure on farmers in India is real, and the number of suicides is astonishing. According to the Indian National Crime Records Bureau, there is an average of 32 farmer or farm worker suicides per day across India. While that tragic fact can't be wholly attributed to falling groundwater, it is clear that failing wells is an important factor. Among farmers, the highest suicide rate in India is in the state of Maharashtra. Bankat Suryawanshi works his family's 7.5-acre farm near the town of Nagarsoga.
पाण्याची एकदम बिकट अवस्था मॅडम इथं पाणी शक्यतो नाहीच असं धरून चालायचं म्हणजे ज्याच्याकडे पैसा आहे शेती जास्त आहे तर तो पाण्यासाठी ट्राय करतो पाणी लागतं आता इथं 7 बोर झालेले आहेत त्यांची परिस्थिती बोर घेण्यासारखी आहे ते बाहेर आहेत तर मग आता ही 7वं बोर आहे इथलं इथं पाणी लागलं म्हणून इथं 4 एकर पाण्याखाली आहे.
The latest attempt to drill a well came up dry despite a depth of 900 feet. Rain is now the only source of water for their crops. Bankat and his cousin Shankar have had to take jobs in the town of Pune 6 hours away to help subsidize the family's farming operation. For the family's domestic needs, water is fetched every morning from a relative's abandoned borehole. Compared to other households in the area, it is a luxury.
Hi, Karin.
In the nearby village of Dapagyon, water vessels are lined up in front of fountains that only run for an hour or two each morning. The entire village relies on one working well. 3 others have run dry. Water insecurity across rural India is a massive challenge that is hampered by the lack of government regulation.
Groundwater remains unregulated, entirely unregulated at this point of time.
Groundwater actually is not regulated here, but we are slowly trying to regulate it.
What is missing from a more comprehensive management of India's groundwater is the science part, which needs to focus on aquifers, and the demand management part, which needs to focus on changing, influencing human behavior.
If I have a borewell in my piece of land, I own that water.
My land, my water.
This sort of ownership is actually changing a common pool resource into a privatized resource, in which no matter if the person next to me is thirsty or his crop is dying, I can still take water from my borewell and cultivate sugarcane.
जनता ये हैगी आ भाई बच्चे की करनगे ਅਸੀਂ ਤਾਂ ਆਪਦੀ ਉਮਰ ਭੋਗ ਲਈ ਵੀ ਬੱਚਿਆਂ ਨੂੰ ਤਾਂ ਪਾਣੀ ਮਿਲਣਾ ਹੀ ਨਹੀਂਗਾ ਕਿਸ ਹਿਸਾਬ ਨਾਲ
Try this 30-second ritual before bedtime to restore perfect blood sugar levels and melt stubborn fat whilst you sleep. This bedtime method is helping men and women of all ages to balance blood sugar and reverse type 2 diabetes, or help you to avoid the diabetes trap forever. While at the same time, this 30-second routine forces your body to melt fat, especially around your belly area. The best part is, when you follow the simple bedtime ritual in this private presentation, you'll trigger a safe, natural, but amazingly powerful metabolic process inside your body that balances your blood sugar and switches your body into high-speed, fat-melting mode so you can literally lose pounds overnight while you sleep. Don't be surprised if you wake up feeling refreshed and rejuvenated like you haven't felt in years. This is all because an award-winning doctor from Maryland has just revealed the real biological root cause of high blood sugar, and it has nothing to do with eating carbs, sugar intake, or even genetics, but instead by highly dangerous beta cells which spread harmful toxins throughout your pancreas. This highly acclaimed doctor was forced out of his practice after he unveiled a billion-dollar secret he wasn't supposed to know. A clinically proven 30-second method to restore healthy sugar levels that you can use today regardless of your age or current medical condition. More than
It's tough to think about what's been in my family for well over 100 years and being here 20.
We have plenty of sunlight. We have plenty of good fertile soils. We even have a multitude of highly intelligent, hardworking people here. But the common denominator for all of that is water. Water is the limiting factor in life in general, but Southwest Kansas specifically.
From space, the surface of southwest Kansas looks like an arid checkerboard. Center pivot irrigation spins perfect circles of corn and milo in square mile and quarter mile sections. GRACE data confirms USGS well data and tells a story of dramatic declines in the high plains or Ogallala Aquifer.
So here in western Kansas, our groundwater is the Ogallala Aquifer, the High Plains Aquifer.
The Ogallala Aquifer is really granite wash off the front range of the Rocky Mountains over time that washed over the plains, filled in the low spots.
It's a very prolific aquifer, very porous, quite permeable, and contains a lot of water.
There is recharge, but it's at a very slow rate, maybe a half of an inch per year.
The lifeblood of our land is that Ogallala Aquifer below us.
That comes from the Oglala Sioux Indian tribe.
It extends from north central Texas up through Nebraska.
It's the largest freshwater aquifer in the Western Hemisphere.
In 56, it appeared if we were going to stay on the farm without more acres, we would need to develop irrigation.
50s, 60s, 70s, and 80s, irrigation was developed in western Kansas, and that's when the high use of the aquifer began.
Most farmers were drilling wells at this time and pumping to irrigate.
We've been pumping out of that for livelihoods to sustain ourselves and our livestock.
Now with the deep turbine pumps and the pressurized center pivot system, you could irrigate just about anywhere, any type of soil, and we did.
I would say we don't have an original well functioning anymore. They've all been redrilled.
Irrigation is a good thing. Over the last 3 or 4 generations, we've just overdone a good thing.
As we pump water on our crops for irrigation, we're constantly drawing from that like a straw. So basically the water situation that we're in currently is we've been drawing from this aquifer, the source of water, for several decades now, and now we're down to the very bottom.
We're getting down to the bottom of that huge pool of water that in the 50s and 60s we thought was inexhaustible.
In some locations, the groundwater has basically disappeared.
If you're looking at your car gas tank and your gauge, we're clear down to the E.
When Grandpa was drilling wells, you find big gravel or rocks like this, you were going to find a really good well. And now, just now the only water you find is a couple 3 feet at the very bottom of the well that the pumps can't effectively access anymore.
What if you could get rid of your kitchen garbage at the push of a button? Hey, I'm Matt from Pila, and I want to introduce you to my friend Lomi. At Pila, we're a team of engineers and material scientists, and we believe that waste can be designed out of your daily life. For the last 3 years, we've been creating something truly special, a solution to the world's garbage problem. Now, before I show you how Lomi is going to change the world, let's talk about why you're going to want one in your home. Maybe you live in a big city and have a green bin program. You know, those pesky little plastic bins with leaky bags under your sink that are amazing at producing that smelly, gross liquid sludge. Raccoons, anybody? Or maybe you don't have a green bin system to do it. Instead, you throw all your food waste into the garbage, which then goes to landfill, which produces methane, which causes climate change, all while still smelling pretty terrible. Lomi makes your life so much easier. Lomi can compost your food waste, that pesky packaging from your online shopping, even compostable plastics, all at the push of a button. You probably know us as the inventors of the world's first compostable phone case. You may have even seen our Lomi campaign on Indiegogo, where we sold more than 20,000 units, raised $7 million, and became the most successful crowdfunding campaign of 2021. Pila customers have eliminated more than 41.8 million plastic bags worth of garbage in the last 4 years. Those 20,000 Lomis I was talking about, they're going to have even more benefit, preventing 1 million pounds of coal from being burned. But we're just getting started. We want to get a Lomi in every home and prevent more than 1 billion pounds of waste from going to landfill. To create Lomi, we've spent more than 3 years completing 1,000 compost tests, probably more, and endless hours of product design and prototyping. Lomi isn't just beautifully designed. We've created something never seen before. An elegant home appliance that takes care of your garbage so you have to.
Can you go your bed?
Things you actually enjoy.
Yeah.
Food waste creates 300 billion pounds of garbage in North America every year. Packaging and plastic, add that on top, which makes the number even higher. Lomi makes home food waste a thing of the past and cuts your carbon footprint up to half. all while making odor neutralized, mess-free dirt that you can feed your plants, toss in your garden, throw it in your green bin, and if you have to, throw it in your garbage. Together, we can do something that politicians and big businesses can't seem to take any action on, actually helping the planet. You can make trash a thing of the past. Click below to reserve your Lomi now and join the movement.
My bed is too big.
We're in Sublette, Kansas. It's the county seat of Haskell County, Kansas. It's kind of the hub of our farm. It started in 1902. My grandfather's father,
My great-grandfather homesteaded on this corner in 1902.
My great-great-grandfather, he received some ground from his father as a wedding gift.
Sometime in 1928, my great-grandmother ordered the house out of a Gordon Valentine catalog. This is where my grandfather was raised and my dad was raised.
We're still farming that ground to this day, and we've just been building on top of that. This particular farmstead has been where the last 2 generations of our family has started out after college.
We lived there probably a year before we had any kids.
The irony is the new irrigation well we drilled a couple years ago actually led to the demise of the domestic well.
Yeah, that was hard. I was like, can't we just drill that well again?
Right now, my dad and my grandpa and my Uncle Jarvis are currently partners in the farm.
Jay does more of the economic side. Jarvis does more of the technology side. It tends to work real well together.
We've got Dad with the senior partner, the experience. My brother is the finance guy. He's in charge of marketing and our risk management. I don't care for that, so I'm lucky I get to do what I want to do. I get to be out in the field producing, more of the hands-on. My brother and I, we still got another 20 years at this before we can even begin to maybe think about retiring. Looking at our boys, the next generation, and we're trying to figure out how do we make this thing last longer, this thing being the aquifer. It's tough to think about what's been in my family for well over 100 years not being here in 20. It may mean that my kids or my nephews don't come back. May not even have a chance if that's their desire.
When harvest time comes and I see what's come of the things that I've done, that's whenever it really pays off for me, and that's when I get an awesome feeling inside. With the 98% of the population that's not working on
What's the connection between CPAs and environmental, social, and governance matters?
farms, they need to understand that their food isn't coming from the grocery store shelf. It's ultimately coming from the fields of the heartland of America. And that heartland food is fed by the Ogallala Aquifer and the water that we draw from it. I want that opportunity so bad to be able to follow in those steps of my parents, grandparents, and previous generations, to see all the hard work they put in, and with our water situation, to see it hit like a brick wall. You know, I would consider coming back, but I'd have to lock in a 40-year investment that I can't surely make.
The corn's 20 kernels around, which is excellent, and it's 45 kernels long, so that's about 900 kernels. If we multiply that by 30,000 plant population, we divide that by 80,000 kernels per bushel. It tells us that, you know, this corn would probably yield in the 220 to 240 bushel range, so which would be very good. So this is a good crop here, but it only lasts as long as the water's here. What disturbs me this morning, checking on this irrigation well, is is showing signs of weakening. When I checked the water there, I found air suspended in the water, and that means that down at the bottom the pump is starting to gasp air, like when you finish a soda with a straw out of a glass. Right at the end you get that sucking sound. Well, this is the very beginning of that sucking sound, and this will last another 5 or 10 years, but not even at the production rate that we're at here today. So it's just a question of how much time is left. I suppose we should let ourselves enjoy a good crop while it's here, but we can't lose sight of the long term. And that's what I worry about for Jared, and Jaden and Jesse, James and Reese, Ryan and Noah, and Ian. Those Garrisons are mothers too.
But thinking about Jared and the challenges that his generation faces, that's what leaves you gasping for air. Kind of leaves you at a loss.
Hello? Ego. Ekadi? Acing kerja kadi. Ayin nyaru? Okay, ni janji lah.
We'll succeed somewhere. I
Hmm.
just
Well, apa lah?
always thought it would be here.
Ai, mi apa? Hmm. Cháu của anh anh tôi show chứ mẹ. Anh tôi show chứ mà thiếu. Cháu của anh bác của anh. Okay, kalau gua beli anh tôi show. Anh tôi live man, live show.
The population in southwest Kansas today
Ini bayu tahu
would
right?
be reduced by 90%, maybe more, if you removed water from the equation. And that's kind of a microcosm in a way for the whole planet and the way we're looking at the strain, especially on groundwater, fresh groundwater supplies all over the globe.
What's happening in the Ogallala is a strong indicator of what we can expect in these other regions of great groundwater depletion. You know, the fact that they're running out of water means that we will no longer be growing food there.
This aquifer issue has become kind of the insidious, felt but not seen cancer, if you will, that's pitting neighbor against neighbor, and communities are tearing themselves apart, and that could all change if our state elected officials would step out in the middle of the court and call time out and help us start making some mandatory changes.
This is not something that you can solve overnight with just a couple of different policies. And it's not something that if you just enforce a couple of things now, that's going to solve our water problem for the next 50 years. This requires community buy-in for decades.
And at the rate we're going today, we don't have to 2100 to run out. I think it's closer to 2050 or maybe even less. The good news is all the information we need to take action and buy a longer time horizon is all very clearly here. The only thing missing is the resolve to start by taking the first step. But it has to be a collective effort, because an individual is it just amounts to unilateral economic disarmament if you slow down your pump before your neighbor does.
الناس خدمة تاعيا وسلم وسافر مكاينش الماء. الماء تكون شي 5 سنين دوك هادي واش خصها الماء ما تلاقى.
From Morocco, completely to the west, to east, Algeria, Tunisia, Libya, Egypt, even to Iran. In all these countries, groundwater is going down. No exception. No exception. It's going down, and something has to be done.
The Belkadi family well goes down almost 200 meters. From a piece of broken glass, a shaft of light reaches for the bottom. Dug by hand and deepened on 2 occasions, the well is now covered and abandoned.
الماء بدا يقلال من اسمه من ديك العيمان ديال الجفاف بدا يقلال بزاف وقول اسيدي دروك شي 7 سنين 8 باش بدا الماء يقلال.
C'est un domaine qui appartient à tout le monde. Le premier servi, le premier qui va gagner. Donc, c'est la course à l'exploitation. C'est ça le grand problème des ressources souterraines. Si on n'exploite pas cette ressource, il y aura les voisins qui vont l'exploiter. Et donc, il y a cette course à exploiter cette ressource. Donc, il faut arrêter cette chaîne. C'est ça le grand défi, le grand problème.
The level decrease and continue decreasing more than 3 meters year. It's too much.
On a constaté un grand déficit au niveau des ressources souterraines, notamment au niveau de la nappe de Sousse.
Ça, c'est une région où les conditions climatiques sont favorables pour le développement agricole. On produit lorsqu'il fait froid ailleurs. Et ça, c'est une qualité de la région. C'est-à-dire, on peut produire des tomates au mois de décembre.
In the Sousse region, the depletion has gone over 70 meters.
There was over-exploitation of groundwater, unfortunately, by farmer mainly, because this farmer have a big farm and the crop are destined for to export, and then they over-exploit.
People economically were quitting their orchard. They earn money by quitting their orchard, let them die.
ما نديرو فيهم صافي انه شنا في من والو شنا في عن دابا صافي.
The long wait is over. Ag in Motion is back in person and in the dirt with an
ايش ما بقاو كيديروا والو الا بقاو ما غادي يخسروا الارض ولا يدير شي حبوب ولا شي حاجه صافي. لا فلاحه كتار كاين جيراننا تهلاها هما باش قبلنا من هنا تا هما الماء كامله وكل شيء هذه المنطقه هنا ديال سد قدا هنا من برا عندها ضرر بزاف فيها على الماء مورا الخدمه وداك الشيء راه الناس بغاو يخدموا ولكن ما كاين باش يخدموا.
As Morocco started to face their water challenges, they began by building dams.
Before the 60s of the last century, Morocco was mainly entirely dependent on groundwater. And after the 60s, the late King Hassan II has decided to adopt a new policy of water, which is called the policy of big dams.
Donc, on va continuer pour les 20 années à venir à construire les barrages. Donc, à un rythme moyen de 3 grands barrages par an. Nous n'avons pas d'autre solution au Maroc. Nous sommes obligés de continuer à construire les barrages, même si ça coûte de plus en plus cher. Et ça coûte en termes de financiers, mais également en termes d'impact socio-économique.
Donc on se trouve ici au barrage Yasmin Tashfin. C'est un parmi les grands barrages de la région avec une capacité de 300 millions de mètres cubes.
The carrot and the stick. When you build more dams, when you build more, you are just giving carrot all the time. And people are claiming water. But if you tell them, well, that's good, we bring water, but at the same time you have to save water, and if you don't save it, penalty. That's the stick. And you have to pay for water, that's the stick. You have to balance.
ما عندنا منديل بس الله تعالى كده غدي ما عندنا منديل هم على انهم شي حاجه تحيل هم ربوا الانتاج ولكن ما كان الله تعالى ما كان اللي دار الله تعالى هي اللي كاينه
Amigo, ya. No, amigo, no. Retrocede. Ay, amigo, ya, amigo.
Ya, muéveme.
Amigo, ya.
La yuca, buena yuca, $1 el kilo, buena yuca, $2 el ajo, la yuca, el zapallo, la papa peruanita.
In Peru, the Ica Valley has become a lucrative farming region. It's located in the desert between the foothills of the Andes and sand dunes that stretch westward for miles toward the Pacific Ocean.
Ica está destinada a ser el California de Perú, en crecimiento económico acelerado. Acá ha generado puestos de trabajo, divisas para el país, alimentos para el mundo.
The crops grown on large farms around Ica are mostly exported, and the farms use water pumped from wells.
Nos va a hacer desaparecer simplemente con el agua. Sin agua, ¿qué vamos a hacer?
Antes tú encontrabas, ponías un pozo y a 3 metros tenías agua, ¿ya? Ahora te vas a 300 metros para abajo y todavía ya no tienes agua.
Se está secando. Era más a 20, a 30 de profundidad. Anteriormente no era esa profundidad que había allá ahorita, que son 200 a 180. Que hay tantísimos pozos que están haciendo y no sé cómo, a pesar que está prohibido.
Que estamos destruyendo no solamente el futuro de las generaciones venideras, sino que estamos depredando los recursos.
In all of these economic activities, there must be an absolute respect for resources and for the rights of other people.
Perú ha sido uno de los primeros productores de espárrago fresco a nivel mundial.
Es un crimen, por decirlo menos, sembrar espárragos en un desierto, porque es uno de los productos más demandantes en recursos hídricos.
Asparagus should have been outlawed way back when this problem began.
Son negocios muy rentables, ¿no? Muy rentables. El hecho de tener un cultivo que demande tanta agua, si bien es cierto, es muy rentable, sin embargo, el costo ambiental y social no se justifica.
Y el pequeño agricultor, históricamente en Ica, ha sido productor de productos de zonas secas. Y hay tantos productos que podrían ser perfectamente aprovechables y que no se hace, porque lo que se busca solo es la ganancia. A mí lo que me preocupa no solamente la depredación de los recursos naturales, que ya lo estamos viviendo, sino la profunda exclusión que vivimos.
The large landlords came into Ica. Most of their capital is from Lima and some from Chile and from outside. And they started buying up all of the wells they could from small. They had a lot of capital, and if you're a small farmer or a medium-sized farmer, and your well breaks down, you don't have the capital.
Esto ha sido casi toda la historia de los últimos años de la pequeña agricultura, cómo ha ido, simplemente se ha ido marginando de toda actividad productiva y se ha tenido que ir a actividades de servicio, dejar la chacra o quedarse con mínimas parcelas.
Alberto Cuya and his small farmers co-op sold 2 of their wells to a large farm because they couldn't afford to fix them. They run another well with a diesel engine. One of the wells that they sold now sits behind locks, cameras, and an electric fence.
No, tienen una empresa grande, han mejorado, trabaja día y noche y damos cuenta que está quitando a los pozos más cercanos.
The small farmers, in terms of drinking water where they live, recently in the last 3 years have tap water through their municipalities. They have it 2 to 3 times a week for about an hour. Okay, that's the only water they have, drinking water. I will tell you the words of one of these big agro exporters that went north. He told me, David, what you're talking about is absolutely right. And I fear that when the people don't have drinking water, they will come onto my farm and burn it down.
Mi temor es que puede ser caldo de cultivo de una mayor violencia. Violencia delincuencial, pero también violencia política.
We witnessed some of that violence when we visited the town of Okukahe.
What we have here is a town that's trying to prevent pipe from being laid, and through that pipe would run water from a well to areas farther away where this company would use it for their crops.
Jocelyn Guzman is a resident of Okukahe, and she's been opposing the company's plans.
Ahí hay un pozo. ¿Qué es lo que quieren? Extender sus tubos para solamente esperar el permiso y succionar el agua y llevársela a su fondo. Es que no hay permiso y no queremos que se saquen el agua porque es el único sustento que nosotros tenemos.
The company Agricola La Venta is awaiting the government water authority's approval to start using 3 wells. The company says it has permission to lay the water pipe, but sections of pipe were left burned by those who are trying to stop the project. Some of the people spent that night blocking access to the road to keep the work from resuming. That night turned out to be a quiet one. The next morning, we met Jocelyn again.
Nosotros somos procedentes de aquí de Okukahe.
After a brief interview, she offered to show us another location where she had heard the company was starting to lay more pipes.
Let this sweet mineral melt in your mouth to rebuild gums and teeth while you sleep. Anyone suffering from bleeding, receding or swollen gum.
¿Qué pasa, amigo? Amigo, soy de Okukahe, estoy pasando. Amigo, ¿qué pasa?
Slowing down the video, you can clearly see the moment when one of the men punched her in the mouth. And then one of them yelled, "We're going to go to your house."
Ya, ya. Sí, retrocede. Retrocede. Ya, amigo, ya. No, amigo, no. Retrocede. ¡Ay, amigo! ¡Ya, amigo! ¡Amigo! ¡Ya, Ya, no firme.
Ya vete.
Retrocede. Papi, me han pegado.
Yeah, Gulwang and Chip, thank you so much for this documentary. I think this documentary take a long time, so this late for me right now is almost 12 o'clock midnight, and I need to go to sleep. So I have a couple of reasons that I brought this documentary. First of all, I want to thank the government of South Sudan for interfering to stop drainage, the Nile drainage along the Nile. That one, that's a good, is a good action. And then I can congratulate the people of South Sudan all around the world that stood up to stop that program. So there is another problem that South Sudanese government didn't address it. So we know right now how many type of water we have it in South Sudan. So we have 3 type of water in South Sudan. We have running water, which is Nile and all these things, and we can divide it, the water in South Sudan into 3 categories. First, we have the running water. The running water is all the Nile, like Nile and all these streams that are called the running water. And another water, they are called the lake water. The lakes and the Nile and the rivers are called running water. And we have another type of water. South Sudanese people and even government didn't mention about it. We have a groundwater. So that this documentary is talking about the groundwater. The groundwater in South Sudan are really in jeopardy. And I would really like South Sudanese people to know this about the groundwater. The groundwater, the water that can be found in aquifer under the ground. Those are very safe water, and now they are really dangerous in South Sudan because nobody knows about them, and I think nobody take care about those water. This water, those water, they are water that people can drink, and this water right now they are really in jeopardy because the oil companies, they're dumping the oil stuff to the ground, and those chemicals they're running to groundwater. So the groundwater, they are in jeopardy. We people of South Sudan, actually, we really need to open our eyes to see our resources. And I really want South Sudanese people to stand up to stand up for the groundwater. Groundwater would be a potential agriculture water in the future because right now we're using rain and we're using only rain, and we didn't use the groundwater. So you, South Sudan government, if you issue the law that can prevent the Nile water to be taken away, you have to issue you have to issue another issue that can protect the groundwater, especially the big companies that are digging oil in South Sudan, like China and Malaysia and all these kind of country. They didn't care about the groundwater in South Sudan. That's why some people, they are getting sick right now. There's a lot of disease that appear in South Sudan never there before because of the chemical that the big company of oil do it, that they pour it down, and those chemicals actually they go around the other place and then they go down to the aquifer under the ground, so that when the people actually drink that water, they can get sick. There's a lot of miracle in that water, in that places. So you, the government of South Sudan, thank you for standing up for our resources. But we really need to do more concerning the groundwater. Groundwater, they are very important, and the people of South Sudan should know that we have another water which is under the ground, and we need this water to be safe for next generation or even for our generation. If South Sudan develops today, so we can use agriculture in the 2 terms. We can use the running water like the Nile, like in stream, and then we can use groundwater too to do the agriculture. So they are really very important. So this is an issue that I really want South Sudanese people to know that if our South Sudan government stand up for our resources to stop digging the Nile, we actually begging him again to do the same thing to prevent the big company using the chemical from the oil side dumping into the ground. Those chemical actually they go down underground and they can affect the water under the ground. So this is a big issue, and the people of South Sudan should have to know that. So thank you, Mr. President, that you save our water not to go to the Egypt. But now we really need you to do more job so that you can protect the groundwater of South Sudan. Those water will be a beneficiary to the people of South Sudan later on, coming 10 years from now or 20 years from now. People should be relying on that water, and they are really very important. So we thank you, Mr. President, and then I also thank people of South Sudan for they stood up for the right of the water. That's the big issue, and I hope people can listen to the voice of the people of South Sudan, so that people can protect their resources from polluting from the oil company, especially the oil company that Chinese and all these kind of people they don't even care about the water in South Sudan. It's the time right now the government should put the new regulation of the environment to protect our environment. And I think this is I finish here, and then maybe tomorrow, if I get a chance, I will do another. I will be looking for another clip, and then I can share with you guys. Thank you for watching, and then also we really need to talk about the Nile, the Nile water. The Nile water actually, if we really need to talk, in fact, the Nile water should be clean. We should have to clean the Nile water, the river water, the Nile river. We should clean the Nile river because of these all the trees and all grasses that coming from different places different places in the Nile. We can do that. We can clean it by our own term, by South Sudanese term, not by a foreigner term, not by Egyptian term, not by any country term. If we need to clean the Nile, South Sudan is capable to clean the Nile, because I can see a lot of grasses and all this kind of thing. And those grasses actually they can kill more fish and animal underground, because when you have a lot of grouse and above the water, the old animal and living thing organism in the water cannot get oxygen. So this is another type that people should look about that thing too. So if South Sudan government really need to clean the Nile, they should form a forum that contain 3 countries. They can form a forum that 3 countries can meet: Uganda and South Sudan and Egypt, if we really need to clean the Nile. So the cleaning must start from Uganda. Uganda can clean his own side, and then South Sudan can clean his own side, and then Sudan can clean his own side, and Egypt can clean his own side. That, I think, that is the way people should do that if we really need to clean the Nile River. Of course, the Nile River, there's a lot of things under there need to be clean, and then we cannot deny that Nile need to be clean. We really need to clean the Nile in our own time, and that is the point, that if Egyptians really wanted to clean it, we have to form a forum that three country or the great lake country, they can come together and then and put an agenda or a mechanism that can use to clean the Nile. I think to me, this is my opinion. We can clean the Nile from that way. So South Sudan can clean its side, and Egypt can clean its side, and then Uganda can clean its side. That should be that. I think that was a fair program. That I can see that. But if we leave other countries like Egypt to come and clean our Nile, I think there will be a lot of question there. There will be a lot of question because, and I also there's two terminology here. People saying it, they are digging the Nile, the Jonglei Nile, and the people, some people they're saying they are cleaning it. So you government, you should have to come with a clear mandate. If you want to clean the Nile, people must know the Nile need to be cleaned by all these trees and all this grass. But if you want to dig the Jonglei Nile, you have to come with clearly so people can know right now, because the terminology is around there. People are not sure what the government is doing, because our government is not clear in that point. So for me, as a South Sudanese citizen, I will be happy when I see Nile be clean with all these with all these trees and all these grasses and all these kind of things. All this predicting the tree must be removed. This is another issue. But if you're saying we are digging the Jonglei Canal, no, I think there is nobody will accept that one. And that one, South Sudanese government must be clear in this point. You should have to bring a clear agenda to the people of South Sudan. If you want to clean the Nile, I think there is no option from the cleaning the Nile, because the Nile is actually there is a lot of erosion there. They are blocking even the animal, even fishes. They are not. They have difficulties there, because when a lot of trees or the lot of grasses grow in the Nile, the oxygen under the water will be really hard for the living organism to live under the water. Those things must be removed. And I think there is no objection. Any South Sudanese will not say don't clean the Nile. Nile must be clean so that all living organisms under the water, they will be safe. This is another point. But if you're digging it, this is another point. And then I think no one can agree with the government for digging the Nile water. We really know another 50 years coming, there will be really a hard time in the world, so people will fight. The war of water will come soon. Thank God the president of Ethiopia and Egypt, they come to agreement not to start the war of the water. And I think we are really close to the war of water to start. And this way will not take it away from our agenda. There will be a next war coming up. If South Sudan will not open its mind right now to see or to protect our all minerals, not only the water, all mineral, people, other countries will come and take it from us. As we see right now, our oil. The most of South Sudanese people, they don't know where is our oil going. Well, this is a big mistake. And I am happy of the issue that our president came up to suspend the digging of the Jonglei Canal. And I think for now, I think that program will be dead. And I think nobody needed anymore to hear a starting of digging the Jonglei Canal. And I think my voice is clear right now, and I have to express my point of view as a South Sudanese citizen. Yeah, again, if South Sudan government is really need to clean the water, to clean the Nile, we have to form a forum that including 3 countries, Uganda, South Sudan, and Egypt, if Egypt really need that one. So from there, the job must be start from Uganda to clean his side, and the South Sudan come to clean his side and go on like that. So if we put that agenda like that, and I think nobody will be doubt that our Jonglei Canal will be dug again. So this is my message. I'm sorry, I am really emotional right now because I couldn't put my word together, but actually it's concerning me as a South Sudanese citizen from South Sudan. So South Sudan government must put an agenda to protect all the mineral. It started from the mineral, the underground, including water, because we have water underground, we call underground water. They are very important. We need to put, the government need to put some laws right now before people started to dig those water, because in the future, there will be potential of agriculture water in South Sudan. So we have to put the laws right now to protect that water. And thank you so much, the people of South Sudan, for standing up for your right to stop our water not to go to Egypt. And I think next time I will be looking for documentary, and then I will share with you. Kan anaji togutan anaji pumiat kwen ane man Junuba Sudan kwen ke jamantin awad piu ai diak no ogano piu wane chad piu wari nili kwana piu ko eto legi kwana piu ko ke chad to pini tiobi ke piu to pini tiobi achiran tika protects ke ka agur wek junu weng mon jang ba kanyi especially gan wan ene ke petrol loitin piu actually have ke petrol ko kwaje ke liab ke petrol a company chika ba a Chinese kwa Malaysian kwa ko with petrol kwa ka ache care about the piu quantity ke galotin bi petrol because jo bi nyai kule ka warpin ke yen petrol kana kala lo piu kule la do na lek do kala lo piu to pini na lo la ben bla de kala yato na lo ko de tin ko yato na non twen wani ke ting wan em mi ko ga ye ke non gu ma sha ke la chin kwa chin yin because of that ke piu ka go pick protect ko man wo ko Junuba Sudan especially monjang lan manati wani ko wetin petrola manati monjang o ke manati ka agor be akuma blatin benye lep gawanin bika tapi gawanin bita environment bika tapi na long shirka biya ben shirka one by China or be Malaysia or be anywhere ka bika ngati a policy of environment and we kilo ashan ben mi kwato ku pia inda reje na shi kuma government ba kuma jam kalat ke piu ka bika gel ke yeno kuma lazim be pia inda be gel ko yen kana lawo mon jam ba woni liep na ci wole woni ke pin dona bria lan petrol elum aye walpin ko ye piu de aye ban jot bi gal wari ko ye gal puli ko ye gal kadan ko la de ko jala twan yen kana god ba woni liep ya ko ba tawtin ko ci ko man ko pa wa ci ko kuma nyen chan ba kuma ko ci we Jonglei Canal lakin wo lo ya ngoro kito manati wondong petrol angor ka lo ya kito tin environment policy is not there. That's why our people get sick from the contamination of the water from the oil company that Chinese and Malaysian and all people are digging the oil. They don't care about the environment of South Sudan. When one young lep ko nyin ku yo kuma Sudan lep ko nyin amen e zaman ki ben mutiyoga na no ran jam ka petrol ala wi e lazim bi kan ati the environmental policy den to ko kunu na kin environment policy ke yen ka ci gambului because ke ga ce care we kwa a ce care ben junub e petrol ba na nyeke ku palo ko bu ko lok to ku twan ko ke na yo message de na ci la be ke jaman an man Junuba Sudan wana no hak ba jam ay man Junuba Sudan we mo jang pen ke diena pat ene ke tiyo pen ka pat pa jale ko nyin akin petrol bela way ikin policy of agriculture, ikin policy of environment mahim quite we petrol ka abijal ablo gan kan lakin we mo jang we quite one petrol akin tibulatin ugabu mola manatika kuna mal ke manatika ku environmental shiraj ku waga twan ene bu cancer be ene bu ka juiri ra bu ka be yin bain salfa ene chale kichin koinyal bi long jongale bi wagafu ichi we ku yina gur ku be koinyal bi policy ka bi ka bebe bi ka tapin bi ka yek koi wani petrol away lazim bi ka tie enwe agenda dan tin environment na chin ka agenda dan ka yu wagafu chilo because by the lake right a chin klik lo ya twan lake yiko bi right chin be ko ga chi ka right tin China man ka piu a kan a chi ka right a chi pandana chi right u yi Malaysia pandana chi right environment dana chi pap ka yin kene na gorbi ba lo Junuba Sudan te le open chan Nigeria Syria a chin environmental policy to Nigeria aka ka liutin ka yan message dina ga be ne ko ana gurba koi won e koi ne al war Junuba Sudan ashan be environment be piat petrol ci beru way environment ki ting policy ke yana ci koi ten kwana be jal be jam na non fursa de ca be yo kana be ben be na jam. Thank you.
Bye banduni abanduno Tamanene ke jampu gande dilga bye banduno Agar bye diktai dalam kingdom Ana daiku dalam untung Pengoba koin bayron benga Wadga ajenge penga bye bandun Chapira mana tukul wala jej wala yamotan Kalor ke delo yo Kudaga nama kundo koin bayron benga yeah Ajenge tunga bye bandun Ekunu tunga bye bandun lo Wantini kantot bye bandun Kedi na pedi kanyalo Kudaye panne koi koki ina luideku Ina tangi ina beri loi anu aga jiran luin Mandiri ima charadol Mandiri ima peridal Mandiri manya tiong kui jimboa Babanga Tumbeke in babanga Ani hamam dage kun baloi vai banap Wene kirani jalin nyalin janyal Bawe jambu ko badili lui kebal vai rumbe Anda daiku dalam nonton Pengoba koin bayron benga Wadga ajenge penga bay pandon Chapria mana tukul wala jej wala yamotan Kalor ke delo yo Kudaga nama kundo koin bayron benga yeah Pani ida majol kudagi mayu Akol bilir minang akol bilir Kunyangu bakam Utangarol kuyirul panda Dalku apo daru kai wulu Yangalu kutile nyiji mitile lu kudunbak Nyangiro Baktingi diara lawe Nakalu nyaiga bai pandono Ajiran reka bai pandano Ajiran emane bai pandano Jadi depan narade pinya nomba nong bai pandeno Anwini nyetihoka nong bai rumbo Yinku wan ma kuin nan gai wan nong bai rumbengna Anda daiku dalam nonton Pengoba koin bai rumbenga Wadga ajenge penga bai pandon Chapria mana tukul wala jej wala yamotan Kalor ke delo yo Kudaga nama kundo koin bai rumbenga yeah Dugi jamba nomar Ejam kutaje kutake kun maloi bai rumbe Atoni ulechu Kunyandur pamanam Togani mark valoi bai pandon Kubidi padur manyangi jam Atoni yau Baya lolo ke tulka nyindi bai pandon Apudi